The 21st annual India-Russia summit is underway in the Indian capital, New Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Russian President Vladimir Putin are meeting in person for the first time since the 2019 BRICS summit. The meeting is a rare one, as it's only the second trip abroad for the Russian president since the pandemic began. Prime Minister Modi warmly welcomed Vladimir Putin at the Hyderabad House in New Delhi and thanked him for his visit during the pandemic. The leaders of the two countries are holding extensive talks that range from defense and military cooperation to environmental challenges, trade as well as economy. In his opening remarks, Prime Minister Modi lauded Vladimir Putin for his deep commitment to the India-Russia ties, adding that over the years and despite geopolitical challenges, the India-Russia friendship has remained constant.
पिछले कई दशकों में वैश्विक स्तर पर कई फंडामेंटल बदलाव आए, कई तरह के जियोपॉलिटिकल समीकरण उभरे, किंतु इन सभी वेरिएबल्स के बीच भारत-रूस मित्रता एक कांस्टेंट रही है। दोनों देशों ने न सिर्फ एक दूसरे के साथ निसंकोच सहयोग किया है, एक दूसरे की सेंसिटिविटीज का भी विशेष ख्याल रखा है। यह सचमुच इंटरस्टेट दोस्ती का एक यूनिक और विश्वस्त मॉडल है।
The year 2021 marks 2 decades of strategic ties between India and Russia. The first 2+2 dialogue between the two sides was held earlier today between the defense ministers and the foreign ministers of the two countries. Prime Minister Modi said that the 2+2 mechanism has been adopted to expand the India-Russia partnership.
कोविड की चुनौतियों के बावजूद भारत और रूस के संबंधों की रफ्तार में कोई बदलाव नहीं आया है। हमारी स्पेशल एंड प्रिविलेज स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप निरंतर मजबूत होती गई है। एक्सीलेंसी 2021 हमारी स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप के लिए भी विशेष है। आज हमारे विदेश एवं रक्षा मंत्रियों के बीच 2+2 डायलॉग की पहली बैठक हुई। इससे हमारे व्यावहारिक सहयोग को बढ़ाने का एक नया मैकेनिज्म शुरू हुआ है।
Thanking Prime Minister Modi for the warm welcome, the Russian leader said that he was happy to travel to a friendly country, adding that he perceives India as a great power. He also said that the two countries share military cooperation like no other.
Dear friend, I'm so very happy to be able to travel to visit the friendly country of India. We hold talks every year, taking turns in India and in Russia. Unfortunately, we had to skip last year because of the pandemic. Still, it's our turn to travel to India, so I would like to thank you for the invitation. We perceive India as a great power, friendly nation and time-tested friend. As we have our colleagues with us today, Foreign Ministry and Defense Ministry after their inaugural meeting, that means we continue to develop our relation on international agenda and military sphere. We hold joint military exercises both in the Indian and Russian territories. I would like to thank you for your attention for this component about the cooperation.
Russia and India have been long-standing and privileged strategic partners. The two leaders are likely to discuss issues related to regional security with a special focus on the situation in Afghanistan. The meeting will also focus on countering terrorism and terror financing.
अफगानिस्तान और दूसरे क्षेत्रीय विषयों पर भी हम निरंतर संपर्क में रहे हैं। ईस्टर्न इकोनॉमिक फोरम और द व्लादिवोस्तोक समिट से शुरू हुई रीजनल पार्टनरशिप आज रशियन फार ईस्ट और भारत के राज्यों के बीच वास्तविक सहयोग में बदल देगी।
We continue to cooperate directly on global agenda, and as you have said, indeed our positions coincide. We are concerned about everything that has to do with terrorism. The fight against terrorism. Also, we are fighting drug trafficking and organized crime. And with that regard, we are concerned about the development situation in Afghanistan.
And for more on this, with us live from Moscow is Boris Volkonsky, an international affairs analyst. Thanks very much for being here with us. Vladimir Putin and Prime Minister Modi have met 19 times since 2014. The personal chemistry on full display once again as they met in New Delhi for that India-Russia summit. According to you, what is the messaging behind Vladimir Putin's visit to India and what this tells us about the significance that Moscow attaches to this partnership?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me for this talk. I would say that the message is very clear. Russia-India relations are time-tested. And as Prime Minister Modi said, that despite all the changes in the global order, so this means that no change has taken place despite all the difficulties. So I think that the two things I think are important. They have already been mentioned. That one is that it is the second foreign visit by Vladimir Putin during the so-called pandemic, and this year in 2021 it is the second visit. The first one was a visit to Geneva where he met with President Biden, and now it is the second visit, which underlines the importance Russia attaches to Russia-Indian ties. And the second factor is the already mentioned historically first meeting in the 2+2 format between ministers of defense and foreign affairs. So it means that a new page has been turned in our relationship. Also, several points have been mentioned in both Premier Modi's and President Putin's speeches today. That's of course Afghanistan. Here we must say that our positions do not 100% coincide, but both countries share the perception that Afghanistan should not be turned into a terrorist hub, and the terrorist threat should not loom over the neighboring countries. So it dictates the need for a common inclusive approach of all neighbor states to Afghanistan. Unfortunately, it's not the case every time. Because there are certain attempts to turn Afghanistan soil into a zero-game territory, but zero-game is a lose-lose game, definitely. And so I think that Russia and India, despite some small differences, not really crucial differences in approaches and tactical approaches, strategically our visions coincides. But technically there may be some differences. But I think that there is ground for bringing closer the positions of the two countries. And of course, the green agenda. Well, definitely one of the main problems India is facing is its dependence on coal as a fuel. But Russia has already built two energy blocks of Kudankulam nuclear power plant. And nuclear energy is the cleanest energy today, and now Russia is working on two other blocks. So I think that's one of the fields where we can cooperate, for the mutual benefit.
Right. This summit has been called an opportunity to reset the relationship. Broadly speaking, what is your assessment of where the India-Russia partnership stands at this point?
Well, I won't say that's a reset because it's in our relations. I cannot perceive any setback in our relations in the nearest past, especially after the 1990s. The reset, when we speak about the reset, we probably point to the fact that last year, due to this pandemic and all which is surrounding it, the annual summit did not take place. So, and our economic relations, they declined by, I think Putin mentioned today, 18%. They declined by 18% last year, but within the 10 months of this year, they soared by 38%. So now they are even exceeding the pre-COVID level. Of course, economic relationship is also a field where the actual state of affairs does not reflect the potential of the two countries because, well, due to several logistical and geopolitical reasons, we don't share a common border, and the problem remains there. So it lies in the fact that India-Pakistan relationships are tense, and that the Afghanistan issue has not been resolved and is not likely to be resolved in the nearest future. So there should be ways to bypass these difficulties. So, but in any case, I think that the relationship should be, despite all these difficulties, economic development of economic relationship is in the best interests of both countries. Also, I think that time has come for Russia to rethink its approach to the Indo-Pacific notion. Well, it's a long story, but Russia prefers to speak about Asia-Pacific region, while perceiving the Indo-Pacific notion as a kind of American-based notion, American policy-based notion. I think that India's vision of Indo-Pacific is quite different from that of the United States. So we could use India's approach to this region, to this macro region, in order to establish ties, better ties with India's neighbors, and especially with ASEAN countries and so on.
Right. Boris Volkonsky, thanks very much indeed for being here with us and sharing those perspectives. And our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal, has been monitoring those developments very closely on the ground. He earlier sent us this report. Take a look.
The Russian President Vladimir Putin's India visit is a message of how close relationship is between Moscow and New Delhi. It has been an eventful day for India-Russia relationship, starting with the 2+2 meeting, the first ever 2+2 meeting at the foreign and defense ministers level, but also conversations on number of issues from West Asia to the situation when it comes to in Asia as well. We know Afghanistan dominated the conversations. The Russian president pointing out that how Afghanistan is a cause of concern for Russia, but also talking about how India is a trusted partner, a great power, and there is a sense of nostalgia and how this relationship has stood the test of time amidst a changing geopolitical scenario. And today's meeting is, of course, a testimony to this relationship, how it's growing, flourishing, even as new alliances and changing geopolitical situation has led to many countries joining various other camps. We know that there are, of course, a few issues as well, like Indo-Pacific, which the Russians are not very happy about. But the Indian side has explained that its relationship and its membership to various grouping is issue-based, and how it can progress for the benefit of its own people. With video journalist Gopal, Siddhant Sibal for WION in New Delhi.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.